Welcome to Mindful Objective, the podcast where we explore the root causes of health concerns and uncover holistic tools to restore balance. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel Sproul, integrative health practitioner and professor, and today we're diving into a critical and often misunderstood topic, hormone balance. Hormonal imbalances aren't just something women face during menopause, right? They impact people of all ages and all genders, affecting everything from the mood and energy to weight, digestion, sleep, fertility. And while synthetic hormone therapies dominate the conversation, we're focusing today on natural and integrative approaches. We'll unpack how diet, stress, sleep, exercise, and targeted supplementation can help restore hormone balance safely and effectively. As a reminder, this podcast is for informational educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. Let's get started. So, hormonal imbalances often go undiagnosed because their symptoms are either brushed off as normal aging, which we hear a lot, or people say it's stress, lifestyle, or mental health issues. But what many don't realize is that hormones are the body's messenger. They regulate everything from metabolism to mood to muscle repair. When these messengers get off track, even slightly, your body starts sending signals that something isn't quite working right. So, what are some of these common symptoms of hormone imbalances? One of them would be chronic fatigue. Even after a full night's sleep, you're still waking up, still super tired. Maybe a hormonal issue. Weight gain and difficult losing weight. A lot of people kind of know, hey, I might have a hormonal issue when it comes to weight gain and difficult losing weight. Hair thinning or hair loss, low libido, anxiety. Are you irritable? Do you have mood swings? How about irregular periods, heavy PMS, or skip cycles? Another one would be brain fog, forgetfulness, or memory issues. And a big one is sleep disturbances or insomnia, right? These symptoms don't always show up all at once. They can vary from person to person. We see that a lot, right? Each individual person's an individual. So, one thing's for one person, it's not the same for another. But more often than not, if you're experiencing two or more of these issues on a constant basis, it's worth digging deeper into. What's often overlooked in these symptoms can be usually early indicators of disruption in the endocrine system, particularly imbalances in your cortisol, right? That's your stress hormone. Another one would be insulin. This is used for blood sugar regulation. Thyroid hormones, this controls energy and metabolism. So usually estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, which influence reproductive health and much more. So too often, people are told that their labs are normal, right? You might go to your family practitioner and they run labs. Are they running in-depth labs or not enough labs? Or the labs they're running, they may come back as normal. But here's the truth. Normal is not same as optimal. We hear that a lot with vitamin D3, right? We hear people say, oh, my doctor says my levels are normal. It's like, well, what is your level? Some people it's 30, right? That might be, based on conventional medicine, that could be the normal range, right? 30 to say 100. And that's normal to them, but that's not optimal to us, right? That's not optimal to your body. So normal is not the same as optimal. So lab reference ranges are wide and based on general population, not on individuals who are already showing signs of dysregulation. Just because your levels fall within a broad range doesn't mean your body's functioning properly. Again, let us look at those labs. Are you in optimal range? If not, how do we get you to the optimal range? So again, that's where functional lab testing becomes important. So at Mindful Objective, we use data-driven tools to go beyond the surface. Our most commonly recommended hormone assessment is a Dutch complete test, right? We run multiple different kind of tests out there, full thyroid panel, full hormonal panel. But a well-known one is a Dutch complete test. There will be times where we do not recommend the Dutch because we could get more information from different labs. But sometimes the Dutch is good enough for, a category of people. So a Dutch test is a powerful dried urine test that maps out your cortisol rhythm, sex hormone levels, how efficiently your body's metabolizing and detoxing these hormones. And again, we could get these in different labs too. We also recommend a comprehensive thyroid panel, not just TSH. We hear a lot of people running TSH and T4 only. You need a lot more than that. So usually, doctors do run just TSH and T4, but these are typical and only markers checked, usually during standard testing. Our panels usually include free T3, free T4, reverse T3, TSH, and both TPO and TG antibodies. So this gives us a full picture of whether your thyroid is converting hormones properly, overworking, or under attack from autoimmune issues. Once we gather the right data, we don't stop there. We translate those insights into a customized healing protocol tailored to your specific imbalances. This might mean focus on blood sugar regulation if insulin is the root issue, or adrenal support and nervous system regulation if cortisol rhythm is off. If estrogen dominance is present, we emphasize liver support and estrogen detox pathways. So, for example, we'll just say use that Dutch test because that's, again, well known by a lot of people. People talk about the Dutch test a lot. So we'll just use that for example. So if your Dutch test shows high estrogen, low progesterone, we might recommend cruciferous vegetables, supplement like DIM, magnesium, and a specific B vitamin complex to support detox. There's other protocols too that we do utilize. So that's why we ask you to work with, one of our health coaches. So we also look at stress, gut health, and sleep to build a well-rounded strategy. So our goal is always to restore natural balance, not override your system with synthetic hormones, unless clinically necessary, right? Overseen by a prescribing provider. Instead, we want to support the systems your body already has to use to regulate itself. So there are times when people need hormone replacement therapy, right? If the brain, not sending the proper communications down south, right? So there are times where hormone replacement therapy is needed too, and we partnered with different providers for that. What we try to do is naturally, right? How do we get testosterone or estrogen levels up naturally? And there's a way to do it, right? We may start with high amounts of D3K2 and DHEA and stuff and see how it takes you on your lab, see if it increases those hormones, right? So it goes based on nutrition too. So to make the process more affordable, all of our supplements and professional grade products are offered at 20% off retail pricing. So that's cheaper than you'll find on Amazon. So you'll get the added benefit of a practitioner guidance when you reach out to us. So whether it's magnesium glycinate, adrenal tonics, or hormone balancing blends, we only carry products we personally use and trust. Again, high quality vetted supplements. Another key point, hormonal issues rarely exist in isolation. So for example, someone might come to us with fatigue and think they need thyroid support. But upon testing, we may find that the cortisol is high, their estrogen is out of balance, and their gut health is poor. That's why we look at a whole body approach, never training lab results in a vacuum, right? There's more to certain labs. That's why there's oftentimes you'll see people run, a big full panel of labs because it's not always just one individual lab marker that says, hey, you need to rebalance this. There are times where you want to look at, 10 pages of labs to look and see how each kind of panel kind of correlates with each other, right? Each marker kind of coordinates with each other. So there's more to it, right? If you have one level low, another one high, and then another one low, and then another one low, or these five are natural, why are these three high? Well, it could be based on this one. So there's a lot that goes into those lab markers. So again, we also teach our clients to track their symptoms and cycles. So if you're menstruating, noting how you feel in each phase of your cycle gives us extra clues. Are you more anxious before your period? Do you crash afternoon mid-cycle? These patterns help us fine-tune your protocol, especially if correlated with lab data, right? Lab data is excellent to see. It's good, then you know where your body's currently at and where it's going. So the longer these imbalances go unaddressed, the more strain they place on your body. Hormone dysfunction can eventually lead to insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, autoimmunity, infertility, chronic fatigue. But when caught early and treated with a strategic integrative plan, your body has an amazing ability to heal, right? You don't hear that a lot. You will hear from integrative practitioners, but on the other side of the aisle, you hear you have an issue, you got to take a prescription, and that's not always the case. Now, your body's a great healer, so what can we do to rebalance that body till your body heals itself? So what can we do right now? One thing, start tracking your symptoms weekly. Even if it's simple, journal helps. We harp always on tracking. Consider functional testing to understand what's truly happening inside. Avoid guessing with supplements. Work with a practitioner who can guide you. Check out our discontinued practitioner-grade supplements. What am I saying? It's discounted in the sense of it's 20% off retail. cheaper than Amazon. So, it depends where you're currently ordering products through now. Feel free to use our portal, order as you please. You do not have to be a client of ours to take advantage of 20% off retail. Again, we're just here to help other people heal. So that's our goal there. So feel free to go to our website and go to supplements and sign up in the portal there, and feel free to use it as you please. So you want to support your foundations with hydration, sleep, blood sugar, and nervous system health. Your hormones aren't trying to sabotage you, right? They're trying to communicate. So if you're noticing any of these signs, take them seriously. A lot of people don't to the last minute when something's majorly wrong. Then they, I've been doing that, experiencing that for years. Well, if you're experiencing it now, or even if you're not, let's run the right labs. Let's look up data-driven protocols. And we want to some more support your hormone balance. There's different ways things we could do, but we could get you on the right track. That's what we're here for. So let's talk more about how food is a hormonal fuel, right? Your hormones are built on raw materials you need to give your body, namely nutrients from food, right? People don't understand how important food is, right? But where does food take you if you eat bad? It's a good example there, and that's what people should pay attention to. So namely, nutrients, again, are a big one on foods, right? And it's not just about calories, it's about quality. We have those different guides for shopping and so forth online. How to order, read food labels, how to buy proper meat, how to buy, how to not just food shopping in general, but just get you on the right path, right? Because a lot of people do not have that education, or sometimes it's hard to understand what products are out there because there's so much junk out there. But go to the website, mindfulobjective.com/resources. Feel free to download any of those guides. So every hormone, whether it's insulin, estrogen, thyroid hormone, or cortisol, requires specific nutrients to be created, activated, transported, and detoxified properly, right? Without those building blocks, your body will struggle to maintain hormone balance, even if everything appears to be normal on the outside, right? You see a lot of people that look good, but inside, they're not doing too good. So let's start with the key foods that support hormone balance. One would be healthy fats, right? Hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone are made from cholesterol, which is derived from dietary fats, avocados, extra virgin olive oil, coconut, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, pastured raised eggs, grass-fed ghee, those are all crucial. Don't fair fat, right? Embrace the right kinds, right? You hear a lot about cholesterol. Cholesterol is not the enemy. You need cholesterol or you will not live. Another one would be high quality protein. And again, on the website, we have kind of all this stuff in the resource section. High quality protein, grass-fed beef, wild caught fish, organic poultry, lentils, pastured raised eggs. These all provide amino acids your body needs to construct hormones. It constructs hormone-related enzymes. Not only that, but also neurotransmitters. So protein also helps stabilize blood sugar, which is critical for keeping insulin and cortisol in check. Again, that's why we say, you know what, as soon as you wake up, 30 grams of protein. There's a reason for that. Another one would be cruciferous vegetables. You hear these a lot now because they're beneficial, right? When people say, what can we take or what can we do to, help fight bad cells in the body? How do we prevent cancer? Well, a lot of studies show cruciferous vegetables, right? Broccoli, kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, arugula. These all support your liver's ability to metabolize and eliminate excess estrogen. These veggies contain compounds like sulforaphane and indo-3-carbinol, which assist hormone detoxification. Another one, this is kind of not for everybody because if you have different kind of like bacterial overgrowth and stuff, it can make things worse. But a good thing is fermented foods. So your gut plays a major role in hormone recycling, particularly with estrogen. Foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, miso, low sugar kombucha. These help populate the gut with beneficial bacteria, reducing inflammation, improving digestion. But again, if you have bacterial overgrowth, this can make things worse. Another thing we always hear is magnesium-rich foods. So leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, black beans, avocados, dark chocolate help regulate cortisol, insulin sensitivity, and sleep cycles. 3 essential pillars of hormone harmony. But just as important, what you eat is what to avoid. Refined sugars, right? Stay away from sugars. These cause blood sugar spikes and crashes, and these lead to insulin resistance and cortisol overproduction. It also contributes to inflammation. It disrupts hormonal feedback loops, right? That's why you hear so many people suggesting the keto diet, right? What does keto diet do? Helps bring down inflammation too. Another one you want to avoid, highly processed oils. This is one Geraldo always talks about. He knows his oils. So oils like soybean, corn, safflower, and canola are high in omega-6 fatty acids and prone to oxidation. This can lead to cellular stress and interfere with hormone receptor function. So another one would be conventional meat and dairy. A lot of these meats, non-organic, contain a lot of synthetic hormones, antibiotics, pesticide residue that negatively impact your hormonal system. So you want to opt for organic, grass-fed, and pasture-raised when possible. Again, mindfulobjective.com/resources, mindfulobjective.com/resources, and feel free to download those guides. They're out there. Another one, caffeine and alcohol in excess. Both can burn the liver, disrupt estrogen metabolism, and impair cortisol and melatonin balance, especially if you consume these late in the day or without food. I know a lot of people like to have their drink before bed, and it's damaging. So another key principle is meal timing. So eating a protein-rich breakfast rather than just coffee or fruit, right? We harp on that, 30 grams of protein, within 30 minutes of waking up. This helps ground your blood sugar and stabilize cortisol response in the morning. So skipping meals or going long stretches without eating can trigger a stress response, raising cortisol and throwing off your hormonal rhythm. And I'm guilty of this, right? There's a lot of times I do not wake up hungry, but I've been forcing myself to get that protein in the morning, and usually I do it via like liquid wise, right? But there are different options out there. But, good protein shakes. Body Health has, for those that get too full by protein or don't like protein shakes, there are tablets you could take from Body Health. They're great, right? They're big tablets. So if you're not used to swallowing bigger pills, you may not like it. But there's another like kind of a liquid powder juice version that people use that has a good taste to it and stuff too. And it's not a big amount of liquid, but still get that 30 grams of protein. Or just eat a good breakfast, eggs, meat, whatever you eat in the morning. Just make sure it has enough protein in there. So again, this is why food tracking can be insightful when clients record not only what they eat, but how they feel before and after meals. What does it do? It reveals patterns related to fatigue, bloating, cravings, and mood, right? These are real indicators of how well your hormones are responding to what you're eating. So again, sometimes food alone isn't enough. That's where functional lab testing comes in. So again, a good test we always use here, one of our staple tests, our organic acid tests. This looks at nutrient deficiencies, detox pathways, gut dysbiosis, neurotransmitter function, along with oxidative stress. We also offer food sensitivity testing, which helps uncover hidden inflammatory triggers that can interfere with hormone imbalance. Like you just heard on the last podcast, is we kind of went over Geraldo's test, and sometimes these food sensitivity tests are eye-opener. So, for example, someone might be eating what they think is a clean diet, but still feel tired and bloated, right? This happens to a lot of people. Their OAT test, organic acid test, may show low B vitamin levels, sluggish mitochondria function, or like Geraldo's yeast overgrowth, right? That's a big one out there. All these affect hormone signaling. Or if the food sensitivity test might reveal high inflammatory response to eggs, almonds, dairy. I would say like 99% of people have a reaction to eggs and dairy. A lot of people do not know that, but until you test, you do not know. These foods can disrupt the gut and imbalance immune balance, and for those that are sensitive individuals, right? Some people may feel symptoms to these different foods, but it is causing an inflammatory response. So once we identify those blocks, we build a personalized nutritional protocol. Right? This might include temporary elimination diet, strategic reintroduction, right? Which would be, let's wait 6 weeks. Let's try it for, let's try it one time and see how you respond, but don't try anything else and see how you go over time. Another one would be targeted liver support and also nutrient dense meal planning, right? We can help you plan those meals. We also provide food-based recipe suggestions, shopping guides, practical swaps for busy lives, right? Are you working all the time? Do you have to take your meals with you? Do you do meal prep? Can you buy different meal preps out there? Take with you when you go. So we always emphasize whole foods first, but targeted supplementations can help bridge that gap and speed up healing. This might include DIM or calcium D-glucarconate. This is for estrogen detox. Magnesium glycinate for stress and insulin regulation. B complex for energy, hormone synthesis, and detoxification. Digestive enzymes or probiotics for gut integrity. Protein powders with added adaptogens or hormonal supportive herbs, right? There's a lot out there. And because we only use high quality supplements, we know they can be expensive. So that's why we're doing a 20% off retail. Again, that's to not just supplements, but healthcare products. They're clinical grade products. And again, you'll find it cheaper through us than Amazon and stuff too. And our focus is on healing people, not just making money. So what we're trying to do and give back to everybody. So it's also important to support your liver since these hormones like estrogen are broken down and excreted. So bitter greens like dandelion, arugula, or cilantro, fiber from flaxseed or chia seeds, or plenty of filtered water help clear used hormones and reduce hormone congestion. Right here are a few simple tips you could do today. 1, add that serving of protein or healthy fat to every meal. Include a cruciferous vegetable daily. That could be broccoli, arugula. Another one would be cauliflower. You want to get rid of those vegetable oils. Use olive oil or avocado oil. Another one that everybody complains on is eliminate sugary drinks and snacks for 1 week and observe how your energy is, right? Drink half your body weight in ounces of filtered water each day, right? Do you need more? Are you walking a lot? Are you, in a sauna a lot? You may need more water than typical. Another one would be start food tracking and focus on energy, mood, and cravings. Again, not just calories. You want high quality meals, but you also want to see how you feel after those meals. And remember, your food doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful, right? We're not about perfection. We're about reality. It's more about consistency and knowing what supports your system and what drains it, right? If you take this and it causes back pain or kidney issues or a migraine, well, you know what? You got to not take that anymore, right? Even if you think it's healthy, it may not be healthy for you. So with the right food, the right testing, and the right protocol, your body can rebalance naturally. So let's look at that stress hormone connection. So if you're focused on rebalancing estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, but ignoring stress, right? There's a lot of stress out there and a lot of stress in our bodies. You're likely missing the most disruptive piece of the hormonal puzzle, right? Chronic stress is one of the biggest hormone disruptors we see today, and everybody's stressed. We all think that, everybody's life's perfect. You see all these people on social media and stuff smiling and so happy. Guarantee that's not true, right? Do these people really have these issues, right? There's a lot of people out there that do, but they don't show it on the outside or not on video, right, or a picture. But they're dealing with the same thing you're dealing with. So a high stress environment, it's a big one. So when your body perceives stress, whether it's traumatic event, relationship tensions, financial uncertainty, especially nowadays with this economy, lack of sleep, over-exercising, or even poor blood sugar control, it signals your adrenal glands to produce cortisol, your primary stress hormone. A lot of people hear about cortisol, but do not know exactly what it does, all right? So cortisol plays a big part in your life, and it's, again, your primary stress hormone. So this response is built-in survival mechanism, so that helps you react quickly to danger. Well, when cortisol stays elevated day after day, your system begins to break down. We see this a lot, and we hear people say, oh, what can I take for cortisol issues? Well, how do you know you have a cortisol issue, right? Okay, well, you can say, well, I'm stressed, so it's a cortisol issue. But what time of day is your cortisol high? What time of day is it low? We hear these people blindly because they see stuff on social media, and they decide, hey, I need cortisol supplements, and they're taking it at the wrong time or the wrong type of supplement, and it's damaging their body even more. So do not blindly take supplements, work with a practitioner, run labs, understand when you do need certain products. And are you wasting money on products you don't even need? And is that causing more damage to the body? So again, if your cortisol is chronically high, it triggers pregnenolone steal, which diverting raw materials like pregnenolone away from the sex hormone production to favor cortisol production instead. What's the result of this? It lowers your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, right? So there's a lot to this. What else would it do? It'll disrupt your thyroid function by slowing the conversion from T4 to active T3. What will this do, though? This will reduce your energy, metabolism, and even hair growth. So your hair growth's done. Is it, slowing down? You're not noticing, hey, my hair's not growing anymore or not growing as fast? Well, it could be that conversion to T4 to active T3. So it also interferes with your sleep-wake cycles, reducing melatonin at night and spiking cortisol in appropriate times, like late night or during sleep. Again, I'm another prime example of this, and that's what got me on this journey. Is my cortisol in the morning was very low, and at nighttime it was very high. What's some of the reasons? Well, a lot of times I was a night owl. I was up all night and stuff kind of messed up my body, right? I was going in the wrong direction. So you have to work to get those levels proper. And you want to have higher cortisol in the morning and lower at nighttime too. This way it helps you sleep. So it also compromises your gut health by thinning the intestinal lining and altering the gut microbiome, which turn impacts hormone detox and nutrient absorption. So again, another prime example. Found out I wasn't absorbing proper nutrients, vitamin C, so I need a higher amount, B complex, protein. My body wasn't absorbing any of things or either like different kind of metals and stuff that are needed in the body. I wasn't getting those. So what does it contribute to? To weight gain, especially around the midsection. It could increase cravings from sugar and carbs. And it's not always weight gain, right? Some people naturally are skinnier frames and stuff too, but they could still have those increased cravings for sugars and carbs. And it could cause other hormonal issues, right, in the body. So what's the ironic part? Most people living with high cortisol don't even feel stressed. They might feel wired, anxious, or mentally foggy. Or on the flip side, they feel completely burned out, unable to function without caffeine or naps. How many people do you know that just live off caffeine? Coffee, right? Oh man, I can't live without my coffee. Well, what is the reason for that? Right? Our body craves certain things because it's trying to fulfill certain gaps. And so when you hear all these people, or if you're one of those people out there that says, hey, I can't function without coffee, let's look more into it and wonder why that is. So both scenarios point to adrenal dysregulation, which needs targeted attention, not just willpower. You need to know and have the right tools to understand what's going on in your body. So again, at Mindful, what do? We assess using functional lab testing, particular to Dutch plus test. Again, there's other hormonal tests out there we could do to do your cortisol rhythm over a 24-hour period. So this will let us see when cortisol rises and falls, whether it's spiking when it shouldn't or flatlining when you need energy. We also look at DHEA. This is the hormone that balances cortisol and contributes to vitality, libido, and immune strength, right? Low DHEAs paired with high cortisol is a common pattern in people dealing with chronic stress, burnout, hormonal symptoms. So once we identify the pattern, we build a personalized adrenal healing protocol. This often includes adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha, rhodiola, holy basil. These herbs that help your body adapt to stress and reduce cortisol naturally, right? But at what amounts? You got to be careful. Magnesium glycinate, and also another one would be B complex, right? These are all nutrients that support the adrenal glands. They'll also calm the nervous system. And like the B complex, a lot of people know is beets help restore energy. So another one we always say is try to do, this is hard for a lot of people, but breath work and mindfulness practices. So 5 minutes a day of daily breathing, vagus nerve stimulation, or guided meditation can shift your body out of that fight or flight. We see that a lot out there. People are so stressed, so always in that fight or flight mode to where it's burning out the body. Another thing we'll want to do is caffeine reduction, especially before noon or on an empty stomach to prevent further adrenal strain. Another one would be movement adjustments. So instead of doing intense cardio, switch out to gentle walking. Maybe do yoga or resistance training to reduce cortisol output without losing fitness benefits. Well, another thing we all want to work on is sleep hygiene, right? Because cortisol and melatonin function as opposite ends of your circadian seesaw. So when cortisol is too high at night, melatonin can't do its job, leading to sleep trouble, right? Some people like myself fall asleep instantly and then are up in 15 minutes and feel like we slept all night. A lot of people have that same issue, and got to work on that cortisol. So you want to use supportive sleep with calming teas, magnesium, and consistent bedtime routines. It's often one of the first steps we recommend, right? And I think a big issue that a lot of people have nowadays is cell phone usage right before bed or in bed, and or you fall asleep, wake up, and grab your phone. Oh man, answering messages, or you just look at the time. What kind of throws your body off again? That circadian rhythm. So try to put down your phone, at least an hour before bed, which is hard to do for everybody. I understand, but what can you do to slowly eliminate that? Sometimes we also need and see emotional and unresolved trauma contributing to long-term cortisol dysregulation. So there's a lot of people that deal with emotional issues, or again, they experienced trauma in their life and it led to that cortisol issue, right? But how do we get down the right path? So, there's therapy out there, EMDR, nervous system retraining alongside physical with different protocols, based on working with your physician. So, true hormone healing must consider emotional health and mental resilience, right? There's more to it than just taking a supplement. You got to get your mind right. So, to make these resources more accessible, again, we offer professional grade products that are out there. So, feel free to visit the website. And here's the thing, many people try out supplement their stress, right? They take, tons and tons of supplements, but the stress isn't just a biochemical issue. It's also behavioral, emotional, and environmental. So that's why our protocols combine targeted nutrients with lifestyle interventions that teach the body to be safe again, right? There's a lot goes into this as we talk. We also we encourage clients to track their energy patterns throughout the day, right? Not just their food tracking, but how do they feel? Do they feel tired, wired, hungry, foggy? This helps us identify whether their cortisol rhythm is too high, too low, inverted. Inverted, like my example, would be high at night, low in the morning. So when paired with lab testing, this data, becomes a powerful guide for us. So clients often report huge improvements in sleep quality, mood stability, energy throughout the day, reduced sugar cravings, less anxiety and irritability, improved focus and mental clarity. So these aren't small wins. They're life-changing transformations that begin with recognizing stress as the root cause of hormone imbalances and addressing it head on. So what can you do right now today? Set a regular bedtime that minimizes screens after 8 p.m. Try box breathing. That's where you inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Do this 3 to 5 minutes once or twice a day. So again, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, and try that 3 to 5 minutes once or twice a day. Swap those intense workouts for strength training or walking if you feel drained, right? Don't overexert your body. Consider adding magnesium glycinate or ashwagandha. Again, it's available 20% off in our, supplement shop. Get functional testing done to understand your cortisol rhythm and stress response patterns. So again, your body's not broken. It's responding appropriately to stress environment. There is good news. You can reserve this with the right data, guidance, and daily practices. You can shift your body from survive mode to thrive mode. You have to do this. You have to get on the right track. Again, when is your health important to you? If it's now, feel free to reach out. We'll do whatever we can to help you. So hormone healing isn't just about doing more. It's about restoring safely. And you want to restore that rhythm to your nervous system so your body feels safe enough to rebalance itself. Another one we'll kind of touch on is, sleep, exercise, and daily rhythm. And what are you doing daily? So your hormone system isn't just affected by what you eat or how stressed you are. It's deeply tied into when you sleep, move, and eat. That's because hormones follow circadian rhythm, that 24-hour internal clock that regulates everything from cortisol to melatonin to reproductive hormones. So let's start with sleep. So this is when your body does most of its repair work. Melatonin, which is a growth hormone, and DHEA, these are both produced at night, especially between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So poor sleep doesn't just leave you tired, it prevents your body from healing and regulating. So if you struggle to fall asleep, waking up at 3 a.m., or relying on stimulants to function, we often start with cortisol rhythm testing to identify disruptions. So that will help us design a plan that supports a restorative sleep. We often use supplements like magnesium, L-theanine. There's a couple other ones out there that we use too. to kind of help rebalance the body. Another one we'll talk about is exercise. So, physical activity can be a powerful way to balance hormones, but it must be matched to your current state. Right? Are you doing too much cardio? Cardio. Too much cardio? You may spike cortisol, suppress progesterone, and deplete your adrenals. Right? Some people get in that addiction mode, or they think more cardio is better for them, and it's not. What about no movement at all? You'll miss out on insulin regulation, muscle maintenance, and mood boosting and endorphins. That's where we always say, like, if you do anything, at least get up and walk, right? That's one thing hopefully we could do as we age. Just get out there and walk. At least start with that. Then, they always say what's healthy for you is about 10,000 steps, which is a lot for a lot of people, but it's a slow process. So maybe start out with 1,000 steps. Maybe do that for, a little while, then get it to 2,000 right after a couple weeks, then 3,000 after a couple weeks. Just get out and get movement. What we recommend, again, is strength training 2 to 4 times a week to boost testosterone and insulin sensitivity. Daily walking to regulate blood sugar and lower cortisol. Mobility or yoga sessions to support the nervous system and improve sleep. Finally, you want to align your day with a natural rhythm, right? Get morning sunlight. Limit screen exposure at night. Eating at regular intervals, right? Every couple hours. Make sure you get something to eat. Help synchronize your hormones, and this will help improve long-term balance. It's a slow process, but you can get there. Remember, tracking matters. We encourage the clients to, log sleep, energy, mood, and cycle symptoms. These clues help us adjust those protocols based on what your body's really asking for. Again, if you track your food, how you feel, your nutrients versus your partner's, I bet you see a big difference. Right? So that's why we say tracking is important, same with lab testing. So with the right testing, rhythm, and support, your hormones don't just stabilize, they thrive. And one of the final segments we'll talk on is it's how supplements are powerful tools, right? They're not the magic fix. They're not the replacement to a foundation of good health, right? Food, sleep, movement, and stress management always come first. Again, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get your body rebalanced. It doesn't always take supplements, but supplements help fill that gap. But first, we want to work on your nutrition. So that said, when used appropriately and based on your body's actual needs, supplements can help accelerate healing. What else will they do? Restore balance, fill nutritional gaps that may be causing hormonal issues. One of the biggest mistakes that people take in supplements blindly, right? We hear that a lot. Oh, I'm on this supplement, on that supplement. Well, why are you on that? Well, I saw it on a TikTok video. Oh, man. First thing I say always, okay. So let's start over, right? Let's start with tracking and let's see, look at your lab, see if you really need to take any of this stuff and if this stuff's causing damage to you. So a lot of times it goes based on trends, influencer suggestions, or vague symptom matching quizzes, right? People taking quizzes out there that are so generic and generalized that it's just to sell the product. And that's not what we're looking for. We want you to heal. So that's why at Mindful Objective, we always start with functional lab testing before recommending any supplements, right? There are certain kind of supplements or protocols we will recommend, for those that do not have the money to do functional labs. Sometimes it's cheaper in the long run to do functional labs because sometimes taking supplements all the time can be expensive. And what could it do to the body? But those people that do know their issues or they have a diagnosis from a doctor already or anything like that, we can still get them on the right path when it comes to the proper supplements to take. So why we have it, you fill out an intake form, kind of fill out what supplements you're taking, what your symptoms are. Let's see if you really need those or if there's better supplements out there for you. We do have different protocols already out there too for those that do not do lab testing. So you wouldn't guess how much gas to put in the car without checking the gauge, right? So you shouldn't guess what your body needs either, right? So don't blindly take supplements. Work with a proper health coach or practitioner to get you on the right path. So let's start with some of the most common issues we see on labs and supplements we recommend based on personalized protocol. So stress and adrenal dysfunction. So if the cortisol is high or low, or if your rhythm is completely out of sync, we often support the adrenal glands with stuff like ashwagandha, rhodiola, holy basil. This helps buffer cortisol, reduces anxiety, and restores energy. And, these are individual herbs out there, but there are supplements that we recommend in our protocols that have multiple herbs and, supplements within a specific protocol. So it's easier to take one supplement with the right ingredients and the right amounts in there versus taking all these individual ones. Magnesium glycinate, right? This calms the nervous system, supports blood sugar, and improves sleep. B complex, this is very beneficial for people, especially B5, B6. These are crucial for adrenal hormone production, nervous system stability. We see this a lot with anxiety, right? A lot of people have anxiety or nervousness and stuff. B complex changes their world. So that's why I always suggest the B complex, right? You might not know you're anxious, or you might know you're anxious, but say you don't know you're anxious, you take a B complex and you notice, man, not as anxious anymore. I guess I was anxious before. Or those that are anxious all the time or in a bad mood, sometimes this helps regulate. So B complex is very important. L-theanine, this is a calming amino acid that reduces overstimulation, helps with focus. So these nutrients are often depleted by chronic stress, poor sleep, overtraining. So if you're waking up exhausted, crashing midday, wired at night, these supplements paired with breath work and nervous system regulation, these will make a huge difference. Those with estrogen dominance or poor estrogen detox. So many clients, especially women in their 30s and 40s, show sign of estrogen dominance. I mean, this could be in men too. But for women, heavy or painful periods, fibrocystic breasts, mood swings, or weight gain. So if the Dutch test or organic acid test confirms poor estrogen clearance, we typically recommend DIM. DIM is derived from cruciferous vegetables. It helps shift estrogen towards safer metabolites. Another one would be calcium D glucarate. This supports the liver and inhibits beta glucuronidase, and which is an enzyme that can cause estrogen reabsorption. Liver support herbs like milk thistle. Another one would be dandelion root. Artichoke extract would be another one. These all support detox pathways. Fiber supplements, again, this is if it's needed. This will bind and eliminate excess hormones through the bowels. So dietary changes are here too, especially cruciferous vegetables, clean protein, and filtered water. But supplements can help move the needle faster when used strategically. Another one would be low progesterone. This is one of the most common hormone imbalances we see in women, particularly under chronic stress. Signs include anxiety, short cycles, insomnia, PMS. While we often work with stress management and gut health first, targeted support can include Vitex, which is chasteberry. This is a plant-based supplement that helps with your LH and progesterone production. Another would be vitamin C and B6. This both support the body and it helps producing progesterone after ovulation. Again, magnesium, it's another one that's always talked about. This helps calm the nervous system and supports hormonal production at the ovarian level. So again, the chasteberry isn't for everyone. It should be used with professional oversight, especially if you have PCOS or irregular cycles. So again, work with a health coach. Low testosterone in men or women, so low libido, poor muscle tone, low motivation, or mood swings. This can stem from testosterone imbalance. So based on, Dutch testing or different hormone testing and clinical history, we might recommend, zinc, boron. Boron will help increase free testosterone. Zinc is a good mineral for testosterone production. Tungat Ali or maca root, right? These are herbal options that may support libido or vitality. Vitamin D, again, our big staple here. We always say vitamin D3, K2, and zinc. These help essential hormone signaling, especially when low on lab work, right? We don't recommend them blindly. So that's why we look at those hormone panels. We'll look at the hormone panels, but also your lifestyle patterns. So another one would be your thyroid support. So many people come to us with fatigue, hair thinning, and weight gain, and their doctor told them that their thyroid's fine, but often we look at, that different conversion. Is your T4 to T3 conversion bad, right? Do you have a sluggish metabolism or earliest signs of autoimmune activity? Then you may need like selenium. Selenium supports T4 to T3 conversion, immune modulation. Iodine, again, only when needed, which may be recommended or you may not. So this helps with thyroid hormone synthesis. Again, if you don't need iodine, you take it, could cause more issues. Adaptogens and liver support, because stress and detox burn heavily affect the thyroid function. Iron, B12, and tyrosine, often required for healthy thyroid output. So that's why we do a complete thyroid panel in our functional testing, not just TSH. There's a lot more that goes into it. So we could, help you phase different things out over time. For example, you may start with liver and adrenal support for the first 4 to 6 weeks, then progesterone support once your cortisol is normalized. So this phased approach reduces supplement overload and helps you target the right issues at the right time. Right, so get tested, work with a practitioner, start with the foundations. Foundations will be, adrenals, blood sugar, liver function, gut health. Build from there. You want to use clinical grade supplements, right? Cheaper isn't always better if it doesn't absorb or it has fillers and it creates other side effects. We hear that a lot. Oh, I'm taking this supplement from the store and it's causing more damage to the liver and so forth. So we've seen hundreds of clients go from hormone chaos to hormone clarity, not because of miracle supplement, but because we matched the right tools to their actual imbalances, stayed consistent, and worked with the protocol, grounded based on real data, right? So it's not just, all these people out there selling supplements and stuff and taking stuff and getting worse off. Let's look at the actual data. Let's see how your body's adjusting and rebalancing, and then let's tweak it from there. That's why it's like, we say 3 to 6 month commitment because of that, right? Let's slowly work on things. Let's see how your body's adjusting. That just about sums it up for this podcast. Sorry, this one's a little long too. I was trying to keep it under 30 minutes, but sometimes there's just so much data that has to be discussed. So again, thanks for joining on this episode of Mindful Objective. Today we explored how hormone imbalances show up in daily life, and more importantly, what we could do about it using food, sleep, stress reduction, targeted supplements. Right? Hormonal health isn't a luxury, it's foundational. When your hormones are balanced, you feel clearer, calmer, stronger, and connected to your body. Right? And some people, imbalances, they know right away because they're angry all the time, right? Why are you so angry? Or why are you having heavy menstruation? Why are you, waking up in the middle of the night? Let's look at those things. So again, Mindful Objective, we're here to help you reconnect with your health on your terms. Visit mindfulobjective.com to learn more about our lab testing, supplement protocols, and one-on-one support. That's what we're here for. We want to help you heal, faith-based. That's the way we believe, right? How can we help you? That's what we're here to do, help you heal. As a reminder, this podcast is for educational purposes only. We do not diagnose, cure, or treat any illness or disease. This episode helped you see things differently. Please share it with a friend. Again, get the word out there. We're here to help people. That's why we're trying to give as much information as possible without you having to spend money. So hopefully it's helping some of you. And for others still need help, feel free to reach out. We'll get you on the right path. So it doesn't hurt to ask a question. Feel free to ask us a question. So let's help more people understand their bodies and get back to thriving. So until next time, stay grounded, stay curious, stay well.